Nebraska transplant. My dad brought us out to the Bay Area, along with his hunting rifles, taxidermied pheasants in flight, and more than a taste for scotch, all of which ended up decorating our kitchen walls. By the time I was in high school, I didn't notice the gun racks against the wallpaper or dusty pheasants nailed behind a TV in the corner. But I knew we were different. My friends' kitchens had ceramic seagulls and sunburst clocks on walls. We had guns. Their moms called them in for dinner around 5:30 after their dads got home. We never ate until after 7. My dad was still at the office, which was code for he's at the bar. Once home, Dad got a few more belts of scotch behind him. I steered clear, but listened from the living room. Dad blowing off steam about new social medicine, those goddamn liberals in Berkeley, the orchards coming down right where we live, and all these fences going up. He'd raise his hand in a toast once we were all seated. To Montana, we'll have a ranch. I'll have a horse. He only ever mentioned Montana when he was drunk. 7 nights a week, our family would sit around the table, never acknowledging the liquor-soaked elephant, my father's alcoholism. But I had a secret too. I hid my food. Not in the way you'd think. I hated gristly meat, stringy vegetables. I'd chew and grind. I'd get it into a gray wad like a piece of chewing gum, and then hide it. Slide gobs under the plate rim. Sometimes I'd spit into a napkin or drop it on the floor to the dog. I wasn't anorexic or bulimic. I was driven by a desire to regulate my feelings, a desire to gain control, to survive life with my family, and I did it with food. I was old enough to know my father was an unhappy man. He was a drinker, but he still got up in the morning and went to work. My mom wasn't saying he needed to get help. I'd heard the stories about him growing up poor and his dad, a drinker who lost the farm, had left the family. But my dad, he'd made something of himself. I felt sorry for him. And he always told us he loved us. He'd hold my hand and call me Nancy with a laughing face. It was a line from a Sinatra song he loved and named me after, and I loved him. As a teen, I was still short and on the thin side. My best friends had sprouted up to like 5'6" before they even got into high school. I looked like their little sister. But in high school, my dad made me feel like a beautiful young woman, full of promise. He showed up to watch me in school plays. He helped me apply to colleges. He escorted me to the father-daughter dinner. But at home, I dreaded dinner. Watching him drink, his swollen eyes. He got mean with my brother. At night, I worried he might not make it home from the bar. And what if this caused my parents to get a divorce? I hid in my bed, but at dinner, I couldn't hide. We had to be in our seats to play our roles. I became the listener, the food hider. The menu in our house was by the book. Wednesday night, Swiss steak, Thursday night, spaghetti, Friday night, fish, and Saturday, fun tacos. It's Wednesday night, and Mom's pounded down the economy-sized package of round steak to punctured patties. She's rolled and pinned triangles of raw meat with toothpicks. She's plated it from her electric frying pan. My brothers already have their hands on their knives, ready to dig into meat. Opening a napkin in my lap, I stare at the butter pooled in the center of the mashed potatoes. My brother Steve is sitting next to me, hiding his eyes with his long dark hair. He looked athletic and hipster at the same time. He was the anti-bullshitter in our family. He could see through the lies and call people out, including my folks. Steve says, "Tryouts are Friday." This year he'd be on varsity. "But I'm not going out." He flips his hair back. "And I'm not cutting it for baseball." "Yes, you are," my dad said. He stares down at my mom, not even looking at my brother. "You'll get your hair cut, and you'll be on that field Friday, or you can forget about guitar lessons." I have a mouthful of stringy, tough green beans that I've been sliding cheek to cheek. I'm afraid to swallow and choke on the net of fiber. I pull out some with my finger and slide the gray matted clump under the rim of the plastic dinner plate. My dad throws back his drink. I fork a piece of meat and search for a way to change the subject. "The coach is an ass," my brother says. Swearing offended my Roman Catholic mom, but I don't think it even fazed Dad. He swore when he drank. Swearing was a release, better than breathing. Heck, we all swore, except for Mom. Swearing was sinning. For Dad, not playing sports was sinning. "Lawrence, let him think about it," my mom says. "I don't need to think about it." "You can't make me," my brother says. I push a few pieces off the plate. I take one bite, just trying to look like I'm eating. Dad gets up from the table, grabs my brother by the scruff of his neck, and pushes him toward the door. "Get out of here, you little shit." He heaves his drink at my brother. The glass glances off the top of my brother's shoulder, soaks some of his gray sweatshirt, hits the wall, not far from the gun case, and crashes to the floor. "I'm selling the guitars." The front door slams. Dad goes to the door and latches the chain lock. "Goddamn Beatles, goddamn hippies," he says to himself. He hurries back toward the fridge with his shoulders raised in kind of a take charge way, all of a sudden alive. We hear ice cracking. I still have meat in my cheek pocket. My mouth is dry. I wipe it with my napkin. No one's looking at me. I sweep the napkin under the plate and grab the chewed food, scrunch it in a napkin, and hold it in my lap. I can feel its dampness, its weight, like a little animal, a pet. My mom motions, "We need to just keep eating." Out of the window behind me, I hear shuffling in the garage. Through the gap in the cafe curtains, I can see the garage doors up. My brother moves past. There's a crash of glass at the front door. I see the frosted shards of the top half of the door bounce into the front hallway, and I can hear heavy thudding against the wood door frame. My mom gets up. "Stop! Stop! What will the neighbors think?" I'm standing, pulling back my younger brother to stay put. Dad sets his drink on the table. His head's cocked. He looks unsure, almost afraid, like he's been here before. And then silence. There's the hollow sound of a bat bouncing off concrete as it lands. I peer out the cafe curtains. My brother's running down the street. The bat is rolling slowly on the driveway. My brother Steve didn't come home for 3 days. He stayed away, hid for a day at a girlfriend's, another night at a friend's. Mom was so freaked she didn't cook dinner. No spaghetti, no fish, no fun tacos. My younger brother and I played detectives, rode our bikes around, asked Steve's friends if they'd seen him, just like Steve and I would search for our dad at bars. Dad went to work, came home, and drank. Sunday night, I hear something tapping at the window. It was Steve. Is Mom okay? I unhinge the screen and help pull him across the aluminum frame. He's still pissed, but came back for us kids, too. He wanted us to do something about Dad. He slept on my rug, my bathrobe over his shoulders. I hid him in the bedroom until Dad left in the morning. Steve told Mom he didn't go out to tryouts. He wouldn't make the team. Later that morning, Mom drove us to school, wrote a note with a fake reason why we were late. She was getting good at white lies. And then Mom resumed her schedule. Monday nights were ham loaf. Everyone's wondering if Steve and Dad are going to come to blows again, like two dogs bleeding and whimpering after a fight. The conversation's focused on the rest of us, my mom making some small talk that doesn't make sense. Dad kept drinking. That's what drinkers do. I was already chewing on a chunk of ham loaf and planning the best way to drop it in the paper napkin. There was a sense that things had changed, maybe for the worse. But for now, we were together, seated at our places at the table.
Dance for Cary, everybody.